you explorers, the grenades divers, four child strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the start bomb breakers, botanic garden rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. PPL is more flavor, more vibes. PPL that bring the stadium alive. PPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League.
Hills, mountains, high, high, high. Man, woman, shy, high, high. Proud, Vincy, hands up high, and let me live.
W explorers, the grenades divers, four child strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, these bomb breakers, botanic garden rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. PPL is more flavor, more vibes. PPL that bring the stadium alive. PPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. Top view explorers, the grenade divers, 4 charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the start from breakers, but again Richards. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL to bring stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League.
And welcome back to Arnesville playing field, picturesque Arnesville that is. And we are in for scintillating game here between its Soufriere Hikers and Darkview Explorers. They want to expose some runs here to get the second qualifier off and running. And we see Darren Grieve and Miles Bascom, same opening pair that has always been battling for the Darkview Explorers. They will want to set that momentum going into this total that they might be looking at a 110 around that region to really put up a competitive total. We still have Lance with us. Lance, the task won by the Darkview Explorers, they choose to bat on this wicket.
Yes, thank you and good afternoon and welcome to all our viewers. Yes, they have chosen to bat. The reason given was that they want to get first use of the wicket, which has been in use for the last couple of weeks. And they would want to get it while it's at its best in the reckoning of their captain.
I must make a correction. This is an eliminate game, sorry, instead of a qualifier. As we see spectators still coming in. It's that afternoon time where, you know, it's a Friday evening and you take a half day from work as the first ball is bowled down the ground. Kato starts back the bowling there for the Hodge, for the Soufriere Hikers. Hodge, left arm orthodox spinner. Oh, question answer was stumping there by Anson, umpire, the keeper, umpire now we're looking to redress the stump, the keeper aiding in that feat. Anson, quiet starts of nothing for nothing. Pulled away to the mid-wicket boundary. The off the mark, Graves is off the mark. 1 for the Darkview Explorers. They start their run score.
Yes, it's a quiet start so far. They will know the importance of setting a good total here. Again, the pressure is on in this game. I think even more pressure in this than the previous one because whoever loses, that's it. And so there's no second chance hereafter. And, you know, their destiny really lies in their hands in terms of their performance today.
Well, Hodge, down the leg side, seeing the plot of the left-right combination, putting a bit of, somewhat of a strain on Hodge to get that adjusted line correct. As we see a bit more hustle into Hodge bowling than we have seen in the preliminary games. We normally see him just move slowly across and turns his hand over. We now see that impetus in his bowling stride. A bit faster as Miles cut this one, can't pass the man at point. And just 2 of the over so far.
Yeah, so far he has been looking to push the ball through to Miles. Also, he's not taking any time between his deliveries, so he wants to get this over done and dusted very quickly to rush the batsman.
Well, delivery appeal, loud appeal. We see the keeper was somewhat heading down the leg side, so with the angle, I believe Empire Butler have adjudicated that would have gone down the leg side. And remember, it's a new ball, so it will not do much spinning on it. It just keeps it angled and head down leg.
Yeah, so after an over, they are 2 without loss. Graves, he has 1 and Melfa yet off the mark. And Hodge generally brings the ball in with the arm, especially the new ball. Not much away. And so the angle there would not have been in favor of being adjudicated leg before. Otney Lewis is the bowler who comes on from the southern end. And he'll be bowling to Graves, Lewis to Graves.
Okay, well, Otney Lewis. Same ploy being used in terms of the spin attack by the Soufriere Hikers. See, person's coming into the Stadium. Short delivery, pull away, jumping, I should say, drop catch or jumping short of Dylan Douglas, one of the recognized fielders in this Soufriere Hikers. Well, which one of the best fielder in their fielding artillery.
Yes, it's touch and go from our vantage point. A replay would aid us seeing if it really carried to him or not. But it was pretty close, and he seemed to be a little bit caught with his weight back. And maybe if he leaned forward that a little bit, he might have affected the catch.
It appears as if some injury has been made to his hand or his fingers. Some of that ball appears to be dropping short. Get his fingers on the deck. One. Miles looking for room to cut. Just close that off stump line. And looking to manufacture space on that delivery.
Yes, and Miles has been having a good tournament with the bat. He's second in the run scoring.
This time he's down the track looking to go over the top, and only could find Dylan Douglas at point, and he goes. The Soufriere Hikers making all the inroads, and the Dark View Explorers losing Miles Bascom. It's 3-1. We are into over number 2.
What do they usually say about the commentator? As soon as I would say that, he is second in the run scoring and he has been having a good tournament, 191 runs, he's dismissed the very next delivery. And that one, he was coming down the wickets. It's see to hold it line instead of
score of them, and he coming down the track to Lewis was looking to up the tempo with the runs total, and then only managed to find Dylan Douglas.
Yes, and he has been dismissed without scoring. So he's replaced at the wicket by Dromo Tony, very experienced cricketer. And Tony and Graves will be looking to rebuild here after the fall of the first wicket. Lewis will have other ideas.
Sam Lewis, Graves flicked off his pads over square leg, goes into the boundary for a National Lottery 3D boundary. Welcome boundary there for the Dark View Explorers. A little bit of ill discipline there for Lewis, straying down the left side into the pads of Graves. Sorry.
Yes, and Graves, we have said throughout the tournament, he's very strong in that region. He whips the ball off his pads very powerfully, and it was an easy put away for him in the end.
More flighted delivery, swing and a miss. Only managed to get one to short fine leg. It's more of a French cut, we'll call that.
Yeah, that one came off the inside edge as he was looking to hit that one very powerfully, but defeated there a little bit in the flight. It dropped and hit the bottom of the bat. And he was fortunate in the end not to have had come off the edge onto the stumps.
Tony comes into the attack. Past the outside edge. And end of the second over. And 8-1. Graves on 7. Tony not off the markers yet. Current run rate of just 4.
Yes, so it's a rather sedate start here by the Dark View Explorers, and maybe that was what Miles had in mind when he was chipping down the wicket to that one. They would definitely be thinking of lifting the run rate, but they also would be cognizant of the fact that they need wickets in hand towards the back end to make that charge, and so they would want to achieve the right balance of attack and also preserving wickets.
So Hodge continues. Short delivery, pull away, pass the man a short fine. It goes out to the boundary. 4 more. A welcome boundary again by Grave. And this delivery short. And the Grave, who's been in a lot of form for the tournament, was not able to miss out on that one. Yes, you get it there of airing on the shorter side and also towards Graves' pads. He's very strong in that region of the field. And he's moving up the table in terms of the run scoring. He will soon surpass his opening partner, Miles, as he punches that one along the ground back to the board. So he's currently at about 180 runs for the tournament. And then, of course, you add what you have so far in this innings. And short delivery, pull away again. The square leg boundary cannot feel that one. And it goes for another 4, another National Lottery Treaty boundary. Hodges are disappointed. So to the captain, hands on waist, cannot believe they are in disbelief. Yes, it was a poor delivery, admittedly, by Hodge. The line of the delivery and that type of length against Graves is where he wants ball to bowl. And the fielder on the deep mid-wicket boundary will be disappointed as well with that effort. He seemed to have it covered, but in the end, it nutmegged him like a footballer. This time, Graves goes over the top. And a confirmed signal there by Empire Butler of a Super 6, a welcome Super 6, the first one for the... Well, we are waiting the confirmation there of the decision. Well, it's a 6, yes it is. A confirmed there by Empire Butler, 6 runs. As this one was heaved over the mid-wicket region, 6 runs. Yes, good sponge by the field on the boundary there, young Taylor and Harry. He indicated that it was 6 runs and helped the umpires there to take the red call. But it's a good shot again by Graves. He'll be looking to make as many as he can off this over for Hodge. It's the right angle for him based on where he prefers scoring, not that he cannot score on the offside. And it's 22 for 1. They have sent up Tony. They have sent up Tony to somewhat help with the rebuilding. And we see now that Grave have taken the initiative to somewhat up the momentum and put some impetus to the innings. What do you think the role of Tony should be? Well, definitely with Graves going the way he's going, it would be to give him as much of the strike as possible. And if he gets a bad ball, then he would need to dispatch it to the boundary or over the boundary. Short again. This time, a bit of misfield again. They're coming back for the second. So this could be very challenging with the misfield by the Soufriere Hikers. Can it cost them later on? Well, that misfield was down to a little bit of inexperience, but good running. Because they run the first one hard and they were always looking to put pressure on the fieldsman, he lifted up his head a little bit early before he had the ball in his hand. And so he fumbled it at the critical point. That was Harry. And allowed the batsman to get the extra run. Well, I do not foresee that Hodge getting another wicket at the end of the over. It's 24 for 1, 8 runs per over. DC has a good recovery at this time. 1 more over to go into the power play. Yes, that last over in particular, they should be very pleased with that, and they would hope to continue from here on at a similar rate of scoring, and to get them to as large a score as possible. They will definitely want over 100 runs, seeing how the first game went, in order to feel a little bit safer. So I'd say 100 is about par on this wicket, Kasdan. Well, Lewis, duck delivery. This time Tony swings that one out to the square leg boundary. Another misfield, sloppy piece of work there by the fielder in the mid-wicket boundary, and it goes for another National Lottery Treaty boundary. Runs.
Yes, the Soufriere hikers have to be very careful here. They have been making some minor errors in the field, and they might be minor errors, but once they're giving away runs, then they become major errors. And Williams would be disappointed with his effort there on the boundary.
Okay. As we see Thomas really bowling quietly in this second over of his 3 overs. Tony heaved this one over the top, dropping short of the square leg filler, and they only managed to get one of that one. And boy, oh boy, but that was rocketed high in the air, and the square leg filler just couldn't come around in time.
Yes, he missed time that when he was looking to loft it over a little bit straighter than he ended up hitting it. So he ended up tugging it just a little bit square on the onside and getting under it, and that's hitting into the wind. So it doesn't go very far if you don't make good contact.
I think he's dropped him. A delivery that was struck back to him, Lewis. He's dropped it. Graves is dropped. No? Okay. Well, he tried to throw it back onto the stump somewhat. And end of the over, end of the fourth over, which is the end of the power play, and it's 29 for 1.
So after 4 overs so far, this first power play, Graves has 23 of 13 deliveries. He has gotten off to a good start. Bascom was dismissed without scoring. Caught Douglas, bowled Lewis for no run. And Tony, who has come to the crease, he's not out on 5 of 6 deliveries. 29 for 1. In terms of the bowling thus far, Lewis has taken the solitary wicket. He has bowled 2 overs, 1 for 11, and Hodge 2 overs, 9 for 18. So at 29 for 1, not a rapid start, but they will be satisfied that they have only lost 1 wicket, the Dark Vapors, while the Soufriere hikers will be saying, if we keep them down to this run rate and we keep taking wickets, then we'll be in to have a good score to chase.
Well, we'll see pace for the first time. Respect of Bennett and Stapleton. Stapleton comes into the attack, and he will take it up from the administrative center end. Bennett not expressive medium pace, but he's a very strong lad, strong in the arm area. So he gets that ball to go through very well, deliver it into the tie pad area, midriff area. And they go through a leg by. You see Tony rubs in agony.
Yes, he's just checking to see if that one most likely have a mark that would appear later on today. That one struck him in the midriff as he was looking to tug it through the onside. So Stapleton into the it's 34 for 1. They will be looking, the hikers, to keep the score as restricted as possible. They would want to maybe get Graves or strike or dismiss him, because he has been the aggressor so far in the innings and the one who seemed to be in good touch so far for the tournament, having dismissed Miles so early in the piece. And we see some changes to the field. Remember that the power play has ended, so there are now 4 fielders deep on the onside and off.
As this one, Graves pulled down to some of the back square, which for 1. Graves seems to take up the mantle of one to bat through the innings. As this 31, Graves has to be the one that Soufriere hikers have to see the back of.
Yes, at this moment he's actually second on the run scorers list based on the innings that he's having at the moment. So he has surpassed his teammate Miles, and also his other teammate, his opposing team player, which is Dylan Douglas. So he's now second on the run in the runs tally with 196 runs.
Well, Stapleton into Tony. Can't pass him on a short fine.
Yeah, before there, you count himself fortunate there, Stapleton, with that line that he just bowled. If that had just been a yard or 2 on each side of the field, that they had short fine leg, it would have gone into the boundary for 4.
wide and over the top. Welcome delivery, 6 runs there. And with the pace and the width it had, he went hard and got value for the shot.
Yes, that was a good cut shot there by Tony. It just gave him a little bit too much width. Give him the opportunity to free his arms. With the other bowlers have been trying to avoid so far, they have tucked him up close to the body. On that occasion, Stapleton O-ring just a little bit in terms of his line, and it allowed Dromo the use of his arms, and he's a strong man. He got that one over the third man area, and it went all the way for 6.
Well, 37 for 1, we're into over number 5. Shy of over number 5. Slow delivery there by Stapleton. Well, should we say it caught Tony, because that even in his running through that he slowed down at least.
Yes, it seemed to be telegraphed, but it still did the job that he wanted it to do, which was to get a diamond delivery indeed.
Short delivery again, down the ground. Only managed to get one. They could come back for the second. No. And we see, Alanson, during this tournament that there are players who have played for different teams. For example, Kotori, he's playing for Botanical Garden Rangers. Last season, he played for Charlotte and he had a tournament, but he looks more relaxed and ready for his type of cricket, although he have not really given us that type of cricket we're looking for. I missed the other day when he gave us a blistering 50 runs. So would you say that the reshuffling of the guys in different teams bringing out their true potential?
Well, it can work to their benefit, and it could also work to their disadvantage, because sometimes people are comfortable with a certain environment and they are removed from that environment, and the opposite is also true, or vice versa, where they might be uncomfortable in the environment and they go into one that they are more comfortable with and they perform better. It could also just be a change of form, where the last tournament in the level of cricket, it was in the height of the COVID and the lockdowns and the lack of cricket, and this time around they have come out of the nearly T20 competition.
Well, this time Haywood comes into the attack. Forced delivery from Haywood is pulled away. It brings back Grave into the strike, something that will be important in this. If they have to set a good total, we have to face a number of the balls, as we see at one point in the run chase with the Salpon Breakers. Ricardo Williams was somewhat stagnant and getting strike, which later on causes his demise.
Yes, it's always important that when you are hot, so to speak, that you don't get warmed or cooled off by lack of strike.
Short delivery, a pet shot for Graves. He misses that one. He would somewhat be peeved within himself that he did not get maximum result for that and resulting in a diamond delivery. Sure, this time he capitalizes, and that one traveled miles. That one had mileage on it. Call the aircraft.
Yes, that one had an A hostess on it, and you look at that delivery from Haywood. It seemed to be a little bit quicker, but it was very short. It ended up being a long hop, and Graves had no qualms about hitting that one over the boundary for 6, just wide of long on, and that's a top shot. As we see some of the dignitaries there, we are seeing one of our commentators, Thaddeus Michael Finley, there on the screen, in a burgundy looking top. We have Mr. Hillocks, Director of Sports, and a few other persons who are there watching from the President's Suite.
We know Mr. Finney would never miss a day of cricket once he's at the Adamsville playing field, as this one is thrown a bit wider out of the reach of Graves, but too wide. And the umpire in the affirmative signals are wide. And Haywood really battling. Very tossed up. In the head, pushes down the ground. Stapleton cleans up.
Yes, that was a good last delivery. That one, he gave it generous flight, and it dipped quite late on the batsman. And you know, a batsman of a lesser class than Graves may have been defeated by that one.
See, 46-1. Tony. And Lance, we see a lot of running between the wicket amidst the odd boundaries and sixes that they're getting, which is tantamount of a good basement for what could be a good total.
Yes, they would need to keep the scoreboard ticking over, and they would want to get some more impetus from this position.
Down the leg side, flicked away, they go for one, they could come back for the second, they're charging for the second. Oh, loud appeal, not out. Not
yes.
Out there, in for two. Two leg buys.
Yes, two leg buys is signal there, and seems to be the end of the over. Yes, end of over number 6. They have 4 overs remaining. As I mentioned before, they would want to get above 100 runs at least. I would think that on this pitch, at this point in the tournament, that 100 runs is a par score. So you don't want to drop below that, because you feel like if you're having to play catch up, and you need really to have an exceptional day defending the runs. So they don't want to get above 100 runs, as we see Douglas being introduced into the attack.
And with the heat that is always signaling to the dressing room for just a little bit of refreshment, it will be very crucial for him if he have to stay there for the rest 4 overs also. Tony goes up and over, third man. They're running for one. They could come back for the second. No, just a slip on his return, restricting only to one, bring Graves into strike.
Yes, that one had some weight on it, and we have seen earlier in the innings that he has played a similar shot over the third man region. That one, because it was a spinner, it didn't really go on to the boundary for 4. But Graves back on strike, and he would want to keep his foot firmly on the accelerator for the remaining deliveries in this innings.
This time he's right, that one, through mid-wicket, going for one, come for second, Tony wants to, but no, Graves will not have reached back there.
And just to comment a little bit on the field, Douglas, his bowling has no qualms bowling slightly short to Graves, because Graves is hitting into the wind, and he has a lot of deep fieldsmen on the onside. So that's his ploy. He wants to get him to hit into the wind.
One is right bit down the ground, could be taken, what a catch! He's got him, gone.
Yes,
that takes the catch, and the Dark the Explorers lose their second wicket to Tony, and that is, well, mayhem.
Well, when you look at that catch by Hodge, and you could, that basically tells you why he's rated as one of the better fieldsmen, not just in this competition, but even regionally. So that one, it was hit flat, and as you look at the replay here, it seemed to have a little curve at the last moment. It was curving away from him, with a little bit of splice, and he was able to just and take it with 2 hands. And as we see there, he dives away at the last moment, taking it comfortably in the end, and his little celebration there.
Well, see, I have somewhat of a little Keswick Williams celebration whenever he takes a wicket. That little flick. That celebration may be different for a catch.
It seems so. It seems so. As the new batsman is Dean Brown. He has been promoted above his captain James, because he's been having a good tournament. Seems to be in good form, and they would really want him to come off here to lift their score to something over 100.
Wide in the affirmative.
Yeah, so I signal there. It seems as if the plan here from Douglas is to be wide off stump. He doesn't want to go straight into the swing, the arc.
Well, with that wide, he could. What a catch that is! What a catch! Here what it is. And boy, oh boy, the Dark the Explorer sending in Dean Brown. They are in further trouble here at 3 wickets.
But again,
down.
you could see the plan, Casnell. The plan is to keep delivering wide of him. So he had to stretch, and he didn't make good contact. It was lobbed off his bat, as you can see the replay there. Because he has to stretch for it, he has to reach for it. And that was an exceptional catch there by Jeremy Haywood. exceptional catch, and we saw the customary flips being made in celebration by Douglas when he takes a wicket or takes a catch. Well,
rebuilding will be needed here, and so the captain has come out to take up the mantle himself. Still not seen Hooper. Sean Hooper, a bit surprising in this latter end of the game. My call would have been for Hooper instead of James, and that's from my standpoint. I will respect your opinion on that decision. But Hooper being in a little run tally in the top, I believe should have been here. But that's not my call. Graves this time heave this one over the top. 6 runs, a welcome boundary at this time. And Graves, well, he distributing goods and services here at Arnsville playing field. 6 more to the total.
Yes, he has continued his form. He made that big 82 not out, which is the highest score in VPL T10 history, not just this edition. And he would be disappointed that he hasn't made another big score. But he wants to here in this crucial game, knockout game for his team.
End of an exciting over. We saw 2 wickets and 8 runs coming off that over. Something welcome by Douglas. And 58 for 3. We're in just over number 7. 3 more to go.
And interestingly here from our analysis, we could see that Douglas, he's high on the wicket taking list, and he's also very high on the runs list. He's 4th on both at the moment. And he's been having a good all-round tournament, also quite sharp in the field, having taken 1 or 2 of the catches of the day so far in the tournament. And Haywood will continue bowling from the southern end. He'll be bowling to Captain Lyndon James. Full delivery over toss. It's actually a full toss, and James tucks it down the wide long on. He gets a single. His job now would be to try to shepherd the innings through, while Graves would want to keep scoring at a quick rate to try to lift his team as high a total as possible. As we see that the field on the onside is quite deep. You have 3 fielders in the deep there and 2 on the offside. Saw him advancing, shorten his length, and he punches that one down to the long off fielder, does Graves. And we can see here plus to have Graves hitting into the onside against the spinners, but having the spinners very deep, the fielders very deep on the onside. So just in case miscues any, then they should be in business with a catch.
Well, wide length delivery again to Captain J. This time he cuts it into the cover region. Goes for 1. And do you see that Grave should put some attacking motion now? Seeing that there is James there, Captain James, or James should be able to take up some of that play. This time he heave it to the mid-wicket region. Only could manage to find Lewis.
Yes, again, that's a good field set. And of course, at this point in time, Graves will be looking to finish the innings as strongly as possible in terms of having a high scoring rate so that he can put the total up. But the field is set well, I think, against him. And so they're bowling, even though it's bowling into his strength, the field is set to defend against his strength.
James pull this one over the top and only could reach 6, and that is a welcome 6. Only 6 you can get, Alanson.
Yes, that's a super 6 there by Captain James. Shortish delivery by Haywood. He was guilty on this occasion of erring in length, and that one cleared the field that deep with Douglas comfortably, and that's a 6 runs to James.
Well, 257 sixes in the tournament so far, as James cut this one out to the point fielder, and they go through for 1, and Hodge cleans that one, sends it back with a powerful return. End of the 8th over, we're 70 for 3.
Yes, 70 for 3 after 8. They will need to get 15 runs per over if they want to achieve the 100. And we're saying that 100, I think, is about a par score on this pitch, which is a pitch that is a little bit more to the center of the square here. when we think about the 3 that have been in use for this tournament. And it looks today, based on what we have seen from the game, that it's evenly paced. It's not too quick as some of the it's not as fast, definitely, as the pitch furthest to our right, as you're looking at your screen now, and as we can see the panoramic view around the Arnisville Sports Complex, those lovely Vincentian homes in the background, and looking up to the areas, the Arnisville Fountain and beyond.
Well, this time it goes out to Lewis. Oh my goodness me, he found him directly like a phone call, but only manages to throw it over the rope for 6.
Yes, at some point there he started to think to himself, it's going over my head and I need to knock it back. And in the end, it seemed as if he was caught between 2 lines of to take the catch or to knock it back. And in the end, he wasn't able to execute either. So a super 6 there by James, who means business here today.
Well, Grace goes down the ground again. Hodge comes around. Imagine a little bit of banter. Want him to take on a second if you wish. Now you see the paw of that left hand.
So Captain James and his opener Graves having a little chat here, probably just to reaffirm their ploy for the remaining 10 deliveries. They have wickets in hand, so they really want to be going as hard as possible for these last 10 deliveries.
This time Graves goes down the ground. He could be taking a man soccer to converge, but just between both of them. And well, luckily enough, Graves is still there.
Yes, he was aiming to hit that one fairly straight. But it kind of peeled off the outside edge and just dropped beyond the field, that extra cover. And the man coming in from the sweeper boundary was unable to get to the delivery to take the catch.
Fiercely down the ground, Hodge patrol in that area. Really busy time now for Hodge. He's been seen to be getting paid for his job down in that area.
Yes, and it is a customary thing to have your best fieldsmen in those business areas, especially in the latter stages of the innings. And so he's been doing a good job for his team.
Sam Graves heave this one through the gap between the man at square and mid-wicket boundary, and a welcome boundary. 4 more runs, a national lottery treaty boundary. Well, Grave is really putting on a show here. He's 45 from 25 delivery. Welcome boundary at this time.
Yes, that's a good shot there. He got the gap, which was important. The placement was, he said a few of them earlier in his innings and didn't get the gap. But on this occasion, the same shot, he was able to find the gap and it was executed by him.
This time he heave again into the left side. Goes for 1. They could cut the second, but James will just not be able to make it for a second. And end of the 9th over for the Dark View Explorers and their spectators. They were glad to see that Graves is on the strike going into the last over. They are 84 for 3.
Yes, well, both of these batsmen, they have gotten off to a good start, and their strike rates in this innings is very high. So both of them will be going definitely in the last over. Nothing to lose. You have to go very hard. You only have 6 deliveries. You're not going to get bowled out. It is a statistical impossibility with only 6 legal deliveries possible. So you have to go very hard in this over. And in my opinion, I think they need 100.
What if you run out of no balls?
Well, then that would be your fault.
Well, let's hope so.
Maybe if the last ball, you could attempt that.
Okay, well, let's hope not. And there will be some serious hat tricks there. As we see Stapleton, he will be vested with the last over. And he will get down to Graves. Yeah. Pull away. 1 bounce to Dylan. Cleans it up with a powerful throw. Boy, Stapleton, don't put your hand there if you want to finish this over. That was a powerful return. That the man at the point boundary, he was the one that had to do the point position, have to do the feeling, the backing up.
Yes, I think he was sending a signal to the batsman that, hey, I have a strong arm, don't try to take any 2 runs to me. But it could have backfired, It was a very powerful throw, and it was very difficult for the man who was backing up a few yards away from the wicket.
Well, a different line and length to James as the right-hander comes and strike. It will be good to see Stephen adjust to the right-left combination. This time James goes down the ground, taken. Dylan it is, Dylan in the affirmative, takes a catch, and James goes, caught by Dylan, and oh boy, haven't he answered the question of how we speak highly of his feeling?
Yes, he's an excellent fielder, good all-round cricketer. He has bowled with nose in this innings to restrict the batsmen. Although he went for quite a few runs, he has taken some key wickets, and that was an excellent catch there taken by him, and running around from long on. And this team so far, they feel as well definitely in contention for the catch of the day. And we are wondering if something is, if there's some image here to Shaman Hooper. He has not come out just yet. Alec Attorney is coming out to the crease now to replace Captain James. And that's key wicket taken there by Stapleton as James was striking at just over 200 or so.
But I think all the catches we've seen are contentional catches, because the Haywood catch at short third there is somewhat of a good catch as well for contention. But, well, is a Dark View Explorers now who is in contention to reach 100 from the remaining 4 deliveries. You've been a statistician as you are. Do you think that is possible, Melanson?
Well, definitely it's possible.
Well, Grave is still there. A wide delivery, confirmed now by umpire.
As we see the replay of the dismissal, he was looking to law off this one straight. And there was Douglas coming around very rapidly from long on.
He's down the ground. Grave comes down to Dylan. I doubt he would want to take on the arm of Dylan. Look at that, too powerful back to the keeper. As Atanes comes into the strike, the youngster with a very quick hand, speed, and we would really want to up the tempo. Can we see another 91 here, Alanson?
It seems that it will be a similar score to the first innings, but Anthony would have other ideas. He was attempting to get that one fine of the fielder finally and to the boundary for 4. Seemed to come off the pad. Appeal there for leg before, but that one seemed to have pitched outside the leg stump even though it was in the stump. So correctly deemed not out by umpire Davis.
And a total under 100. Do you see that one? That this total been something welcomed by the Soufriere Hikers, knowing that their batting has been up to pass recently?
Well, they will be satisfied with anything under 100. It doesn't mean that it's a given that they will chase it. But if you give them that as an option at the beginning of the day, then they will take it with both hands. Especially against the Dark View Explorers, whose batting has been quite threatening in the tournament so far.
Stapleton marshalling troops. Just 2 legitimate deliveries remaining. This one is down the leg side. A Cardinals would say, well, not a no ball in that term, but this time it goes for the boundary for 4. The short fine leg is up. Bennington just throwing a bit, and he pays the price of that.
Yes, that one was in the region of strength for Graves. And if we're calculating here, I think that he is up to his half century. His half century with that shot. So good knock again by him. His second half century of the tournament thus far, to back up the one that he made when he scored 82 not out, which is the biggest individual score of this tournament and also of the history of the tournament in the past as well.
Well, we should see the last ball. Wide and offer in the air, could be taken. It goes of the last ball of the innings. He's caught bold Stapleton and boy 92, just one shy of the first inning total of the Botanic Garden Rangers. 92 92 for 4. The Dark View Explorers in their 10 overs. Alanson, is that enough?
They would want it to be, definitely, but it's difficult to see if that is enough at this stage. We see their score of 92 for 5, and we look at the batting card. Graves, he did his job as the opening batsman, but through the innings, made 51 off 29, so very good contribution from him. And he got support from Tony, 15, and Jim, 17 off 8. Athenaeus made 1 of 2 deliveries, so 92 for 5. In terms of the bowling for the Soufriere Hikers, we saw Hodge bowled 2 overs, none for 18. Otney Lewis continues to be very tight and continues to be somebody who is hard to get with. Was 1 for 11. Stapleton bowling that last over, that's good figures for him. 2 for 15 off 2 overs, and 2 wickets also to Douglas, bowling the 6th and 8th over. And so 90 for 5. The chasing team, the Soufriere Hikers, they will need to make 93 of their 10 overs. Kaznel, who do you think will be the happy of the two sides at this point?
Well, the Soufriere Hikers, this should be the one in the happier area. But at this time, it is too close of a call for me. But we will take a short break. I'm going to get my juice and my water for when we're ready for the run chase. This is a Containers Delight break. We'll be back shortly for this, the GM11 VPL Eliminator at the Adamsville playing field here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Remember, this is coming to you with the kind compliments of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Cricket Association. Our fan code GM11, the National Lotteries Authority, Visit 3, and of course our friend ITFX SVG. We will be right back.
Few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 charge strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the start bomb breakers, Botanic Garden Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League.
Yes, a special good day to all our viewers, and at this point I have the privilege of having a sit-down discussion with His Excellency Michael Finley, as a Vincentian sporting ambassador. Growing up as a child, I've always been passionate about cricket, and at every opportunity that I've gotten, I've used it to sit down with legends and persons who can sort of, empower me where knowledge is concerned. And because of my interest in cricket, someone like Mike Finley, as we call him locally, is someone that I have tapped into for many years with his wisdom and knowledge of the game, his experience. And as I said, a privilege today to have just a few minutes with someone. Mike, how are you today?
Not bad at all. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for your kind words.
Yes, well, we have had conversations before, and I have some sense of how we got into the game. But just for all our viewers, tell us how you really started playing cricket.
Yeah, you've got to go back to the 1950s. I spent some years in Aruba with my parents, and then I came home for educational purposes. The people from the islands in Aruba and Curacao would send the kids back home to get a secondary education. So I came back to Vincent, attended the Trumaka Primary School, and I was lucky that the headmaster of that school, Benny Marshall, was a cricket fanatic, and so was my uncle Fandolf Cottle. They're both deceased now. So as you stepped into, the amazing thing is that as you stepped into the Trumaka Primary School, as you entered the main door, on the wall opposite the main door were MCC coaching charts. Yes. In those days, MCC did those charts on fielding, batting, wicket keeping, bowling. So it showed very graphically the basic techniques in those. And that left an impression in my mind. So whenever we went to practice as a school team or as a club member, I always tried to do what I saw on those charts. And that paid off. And then there's a guy from Trumaka, Harold Bentic. He's now deceased. He went to England and lived there for a while. He brought us together in a team called Champions, and he instilled a lot in us, more in terms, he did some coaching, yes, but more in terms of what you become involved in when you are playing cricket. For example, at meetings, he would always tell us, bring a subscription, whatever you could afford, a penny, a halfpenny, you could afford. And then we started the meeting with a prayer. So right away he was showing us the value of making a financial contribution to your club, the importance and value of your religion, and how that can change your life. And then he would say to us, imagine, guys, that you went to play a game in Greg's, and the people give you a great time, lovely. He picks on one of us out of the blue. You stand up and make a time, you teach. And that was teaching you to speak in public. So that's the background I had. And then cricket was the sport in the rural areas those days. You didn't have football and netball, and you had netball, yes, but track and field, no. So you had to become involved in cricket. So I started to play for primary school, and then I went on to play for the village team, and that's how I started. And the thing with the primary schools those days was that it was well organized, and we played the national primary school cricket championship. We emerged champions one year, and they selected at the end of the tournament primary school team that played against the St. Vincent Grammar School in a match, a friendly match. And of course, those we came up with the boat from Trumaka and went back down in the evening. So the matches had to be finished by 12 o'clock so we could get back on the boat. But that was my introduction to cricket. And that sort of involvement was great for my formative years. And when I got to the grammar school, I continued, developed. Then I played for St. Vincent and Windwards and Combined Islands and West Indies eventually. So.
Yeah, excellent. And I know, like you say, you grew up in Trumka and then played for Saints local cricket club and then St. Vincent and Windwards. How was your response like to being called up for West Indies? Fast track to being selected for West Indies team.
That's a fantastic honor. You know, as a boy, any boy in the Caribbean who played cricket would dream that he would want to play for the West Indies. And we named ourselves either Frank King or Jackie Hendricks after one of the leading West Indies players, or at all. And it started our exposure from the smaller islands started in 1966, when what was then the regional championship called the Shell Shield, sponsored by Shell, began. And I started to play in 67. And so then we became exposed in the regional championship. Of course, we got beaten coming and going in the early days until we developed, because we hadn't been exposed to first-class cricket and we hadn't been exposed to the top players in the West Indies. But when we got into the Shell Shield, that's where the exposure started. People like Viv Richards and Andy Roberts and Robert Phillip and Irving Shillingford and Grayson Shillingford, they all started out playing for the national team, then the Windwards or the Leewards, and then Combined Islands, and that's where we moved on. People recognize our talent, and so that selection was a fantastic honor for me to go to Australia in 1968. In fact, a number of people in the bigger islands didn't know who Michael Findlay was, and I had never seen a test match live. until I got to Australia. I'd never seen Gary Sobers play cricket live. You see little clips in cinema when they toured England. But on that tour,
Well, welcome back to the Arnesville playing field. We are back here at the GM11 VPL tournament where we have a limited game. It is Dark View Explorers. They are playing the Soufriere Hikers here at Arnesville playing field. It will be the Soufriere Hikers. They will have to get 93 for victory. The Dark Explorers having posted 92 on Alanson. Not a far, just a one run difference from the first game.
Yes, and we saw in game one that it wasn't enough, albeit it was a close game. So, as I was saying, I believe 100 is where you will be aiming on this pitch, the way it has played today, as a pass score. And so they're a bit short, so they'd have to field and bowl exceptionally well in order to win.
Well, Graves, who opened the batting, opened the bowling now, as the first inning struck down the ground by Salvan Brown and Desmond Maloney. They will do battle here for the Soufriere Hikers in their quest for 23. And first delivery struck down the ground by Brown. He's off the mark.
Yes, so both batsmen are off the mark now, Casnell, with a single off their first deliveries respectively. And they will be looking to get a good partnership here, a good opening partnership, and Salvan needs a score.
Good delivery. Somewhat of a quiet start to what we are accustomed to see of the Soufriere Hikers. And Salvan loved the width on his bat, and moves away of that. Well, this could be close. Not out. I judge the umpire. The diving effort, I think, would have saved him there. Had it not been for that dive last minute, he would have been in trouble.
Yes, most likely that is what saved him. And you have to sell your wicket very dearly, at a very expensive cost. And so that dive was warranted. And of course, he knows the importance of his wicket to his team's chase. But it was good feeling by the fielder coming in there. From the cover region, and that is one run to the Soufriere Hikers. Maloney survives.
This time Maloney gets a delivery with a bit of wit on it. He cuts it between them at point and cover point. That goes out to the boundary for 4. A welcome boundary there for the Soufriere Hikers. They move on to 7 without loss with 5 deliveries.
Yes, and it's a very good shot. It was slightly wide, slightly short. He gave himself a little room and he cut away just in front of square for 4. Very good shot by Maloney, and he has sent off his helmet. Some batsmen don't like to bat in the helmet, especially against the spinners. They feel when the ball is flighted, the visor kind of obscures your vision just a little bit. So it's a preference, and it seems like he prefers to bat without it.
This time he heaved this one high and hard outside the stadium. It orbited the Arnesville playing this spotting area, and boy, it was deposited outside the ground. Well, some cars there also in danger.
Yes, that is why you never park your vehicle there, and I'm sure I'm seeing some vehicles parked in that region. So the owners would have been very nervous. They would be very nervous as they're here watching the game. So probably it would be best for them just move their vehicles from that area. But it was a very good shot by Maloney. The delivery was full, and there was no half measure in his shot. He went through it very, very aggressively with that shot and with full commitment. And he got a nice contact, and that flew. I would say that was about a 100-meter hit.
Well, it's 13 for 1. As we see the conclusion of over number 1 brings Hooper into the attack. He has a mixture of off and leg break bowling. And he has been very, very questionable in terms of asking questions of the opponent so far coming into the power. And it's very somewhat of a gamble, we would say, when you bring Hooper being a sort of part-time bowler. I would say as this delivery is good down the leg side. the affirmative of a wide there by the umpire. Hooper we haven't seen with the bat, but he's now into the attack to bowl. Wide, Salman pounced on it out to the boundary. I think this field is someone that is questionable. They should have a man on that sweeper boundary, but I'm not the captain down there. They will have other questions, but 4 more to Salvan. Well, 4 to Salvan. He opened his account of 4.
Well, it's interesting here because one thing that we could tell for sure, these 2 batsmen, they're not going to stop. They're going to go in very hard at the bowling. And so the Dark View Explorers bowlers, they need to have their wits about them here and ensure that they stick to their plans and they execute well. Or else they may travel around the park, and they need to be very, very cognizant of that. But they will also be aware that they take off a few wickets, that they will pull back the scoring.
One of the things the ring fielders they have to be alert on is that communication, and I will know Desron and Brown from playing police cricket club, they don't really have that great communication. They can communicate, and they've been batting well for the Soufriere Hikers throughout the first version of the VPL, and we have seen a couple of run-outs between them, but that is something that the fielders in the ring circle will have to be alert to.
Yes, and of course the run-out route is a very vital means of taking a wicket, and they need wickets. That one seemed to leave the batsman there after pitching, so delivery there.
This Maloney conforms that is just doing a bit of leg spin to that.
Same delivery again. This time he punches into the offside for a single. 20 with loss. Kaznel after 11 deliveries.
It's a good comeback delivery. Those last 2 deliveries there. Can't pass.
Alec.
Atenes, that is.
Yes, he saved 3 runs there, Kaznel.
Very much.
Yeah, that passed him, that was into the boundary. Struck firmly by Brown. Shortish, not that short, but he's able to get horizontal bat shots onto deliveries that are rather full because he crouches very low down into his wicket. Brown.
As we see, Brown, Shaquille Brown comes into the attack. Bit of pace, been introduced. And this is something that Salvan Brown. So we see Brown and Brown, they're going to face each other as we had Williams in the previous game. So we have to be calling the first so that you will be aware of who we are referring to. So we see Salvan Brown, he will fancy the pace of Shaquille Brown. It is something he's more adapted to playing this format of the cricket.
Yes, and Shaquille will be looking to put in a good performance there. He has done very, very well in some games, and in some games he has blown a little bit hot and cold. And he will want to definitely one of his hot days, and definitely for whatever games they have left for the tournament, if they win today, he would want to remain hot, so to speak. And they would want to take a wicket at this point, get a new batsman into the wicket.
Also, the man at mid-wicket and the third man, they are the 2 outfielders in this bowling attack. This delivery high, not signal wide by umpire. It's a legitimate, not even signal a short one for the over. So it's a very legitimate bounce delivery, as you should say. As Brown, the last Soufriere Hikers, they are 21 without loss. Brown on 8. Wide delivery with a comical show there by Brown.
Yes, I know Salman's a jovial person. Just showing to the umpire that one was very wide and he couldn't reach it.
So Shaquille Brown, 3 This one is heaved into that mid-wicket boundary, and the man that is on that boundary only can do nothing but spectate on that delivery going over his head. 6 more to the total.
Yes, that's a little too short by Brown. He's not been express pace, and the mood that when I say Brown, I mean Shaquille of the Shaquille variety, Brown of the Shaquille variety. He's not been express pace, and the mood that Salvan Brown is in. There's those deliveries around the mid-riff. He will definitely be hard at them, and he's hitting with the wind, and that cleared the boundary comfortably for Super 6.
Well, how can Shaquille Brown answer to Salvan? Shot again, up and over point. 6 more, cut away. I alluded that he fancies a pace, and boy, oh boy, isn't he answering that. 6 more to Salvan Brown.
Yes, and the very dangerous opening pair here for the Hikers. It seems like they're coming up trumps around the back end of the tournament, which I'm sure all the opponents definitely would have an eye on. And so if the Darkview Explorers do not take a wicket very soon, I do not see this game going past 10 overs. So they need to get wickets, or else these two gentlemen will get the runs off the board in very little time. Well, I should say on the board to remove the deficit between what they need and what they have.
Punches out to cover. Runs only coming for 2. That's 2 runs to the total. 36 without loss. We're into over number 3. And just 57 required from some 4 balls. Not a bad axe. And so do we see another ploy where you have a recognized bowler as you will use in your lineup, but someone like the Samuel, who really restricted 2 good overs in a losing cause, but somebody who can do something of the unorthodox here. Salvan goes to the root of India and taken. He's caught by Axenes, and boy, oh boy, an eventful over. After struck him for 2 sixes, well, Salvan goes.
Yes, they needed that wicket. The Darkview Explorers. And when we say they needed it, we mean that it was a necessity, because if these two gentlemen bat for 2-3 more overs, they're very close to 90 runs. And so they needed that wicket to keep themselves in the game, and they have successfully done so. It brings the young man to the crease. A very, very talented batsman, and it's 36 for 1 in the 3rd over. The required rate, they only need 57 from 43 deliveries, which they should be able to manage from here, having 9 wickets in hand. But as we always say, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, and we don't know what will happen over the next 43 deliveries, Kaznav.
Well, I could tell you, somebody will win and somebody will lose. That's the best I could tell you.
Actually, you know, might even be so, because it could be tied, and then you need a few more deliveries to decide.
Well, it's still somebody will lose. Somebody will. As you see, Brown, just one more over shy of it, one more ball shy of the 3rd over. Wide-ish delivery with which on that confirmed there by Empire Butler as a wide.
Yes, he seemed to think a little bit long about that one, but see, it was, you know, around the era where some may not call it, but he called it in the end. So 37 for 1, and Brown will have to reload here. Expensive over for him, but he'll at least have the consolation of having dismissed Salvan in that over, Shaquille.
Into the hips, are flicked away between the man and square leg and short leg, and it goes out to the boundary. A very untidy over there by Brown. Even though you have the wicket of Salvan, the total moves up to 41 for 1. In the end of the 3rd over, they require another 52 and 42 deliveries.
Yes, 52 needed from 7 overs. The equation is definitely in their favor, as we saw the class of young Douglas there, whipping that one off back a length off his hips, tucking it just behind square for a lot of looking boundary. And as I said before, they will need to keep taking wickets. Wickets are the order, because this top order in particular, they are extremely aggressive. And if they keep that aggressive intent, they will be taking some deep chunks out of the ball, the target, once they remain there at the wicket. So they don't want to see the back of them. As Graves continues with his second over, but he has changed ends here, Kasdan.
Well, let's see how much this ploy will work as he switch ends. We're now coming from the commentary end. So Maloney has not faced much delivery for the past over a few. This could put him somewhat on a back burner to cool down a bit. Strong breeze blowing, just moving those bills.
He is trying to push the ball into the offside. But it's good bowling by Graves. He has followed him for first two deliveries. He wants to rotate the strike and keep his innings going. Does Maloney.
Oh, cut away out to the third man boundary. It's going out to the place. What a save that is. Oh, I think there's a bit of injury there. But as that delivery comes in, and best to do a bit of injury to him there. We will have come through for 3 runs, 44 for 1. We're into the 4th over as there's a signal for the medic personnel.
Yes, he seemed to land a little awkwardly there as he did that. He completed that feeling. He chased it with purpose. He chased it with purpose, and as he was approaching the rope, he seemed to, when he flicked back the ball, jump into the air just a little bit. And when he landed, he seemed to land quite awkwardly, and that may have done himself some injury. And we are hoping here that for the sake of Shaman Hooper and also the quality of the tournament overall, because he's a good cricketer, and also for the Dark Explorers, that any injury that he may have sustained, that it is not one that will keep him out for too long. As we see the replay, as he was making, yes, he seemed to jump there. It almost seemed like he tripped over the rope.
The rope.
This is, his leading foot as he bent down seemed to be his as we go and see the replay one more time. His left foot. As he was going over the rope there, caused him to slip and fall because he touched the rope, and it seemed to have tripped him. And we are hoping that he'll be all right as the game continues. Here we are midway in the over 3.3. La Soufriere Hikers 44 for 1. Douglas will come onto the strike after Maloney has taken 3 off that previous delivery. And we could see some medical personnel going around with a stretcher on one end, and they would look to help him to get some treatment as they take him back to the dressing room.
Well, business continue in the middle as Douglas is on strike to Graves.
Yeah, I was just about to say that these things sometimes have an effect on the concentration of batsmen. And let's see if after the break, it affects them negatively.
So the Explorers, they were 28 for 1. At this point of the game, the La Soufriere Hikers are now 45 for 1. Maloney on 15. Douglas still there as he gets a delivery cut away. Maloney made room for himself, and then boy oh boy, that races to the fence with such a flash. By the time I was able to say 4, it already reached back on the playing field.
Yes, he has a talent of timing and the gift of timing today. when he hits the ball, it tends to move off his bat at a rate of knots, whether he's striking it on the ground or in the air. And that was what time to the boundary for National Lotteries 3D Authority 4 by Maloney. He moves on to 19 from 10 deliveries.
Addressing to the stump as the wind seems to be taking a toll, a beating on the Bills. Very windy condition. As you see, the national flag is really taking a beating along with the Palms. This one is tucked into the square leg region. The demeanor of the Dark View Explorers, do you see them looking in the hunt for wickets, or they just accepting that 50 for 1 into this over number 4? It's somewhat done and dusted.
Well, before I comment on that, just to say that Malone 20 of 11 not out, Douglas 5 off, 2 not out. Brown, Salvan Brown, the only one dismissed. He was caught at his ball, Brown, for 22 off 11 deliveries. And for the bowling, so far, Brown the only one to take a wicket, but he's only overcost him, that Shaquille Brown, only overcost him 20 runs. Hooper is 1 over, went for 8, and Graves 2 overs done for 22. Well, and to answer your question, or to respond to your question, Kaznel, they will need to take wickets. It's not a question of if or maybe. That is the way that they will have to get themselves back into this game. So the Dark View Explorers, they are bringing in young Williams, the leg spinner, Seal Ron Williams. So Seal Ron plays for Dark View, and Seal Roy plays for Charlotte. So Seal Ron Williams has been brought into the attack. They will want him to take a few wickets because that's the only way, or the only avenue back into this game.
Well, Maloney cuts this one past the man at point and short toward it goes out the boundary, the third man boundary, 4 runs. Welcome boundary, another National Lottery Authority 3 boundary. And the Dark View Explorers, they really have some questions to answer here.
Yes, that was not a poor delivery by Williams. It had some turn, it had some bounce, but it just gave Maloney, who is West now, just enough room to get it behind point on the offside. And it was well executed. National Lotteries Authority 3-4.
And again, you can pass the man a point a bit straighter to him. And how catastrophic is it now that Maloney finds this form going into these rounds of games?
Well, it augurs well for his team. Not too sure about the opponents, if they will be too pleased with that.
Oh, delivery evades him down the ground. It could go defense. 4 more runs. A bit of sloppy work down at the end. Shaquille Brown. That brings up the total to 58 for 1. Another 35 from the 3 ball.
Yeah, he was punching that one off the back foot. It just went over Williams' head as he tried to take the catch and quickly into the boundary. So you were speaking about his form at this stage of the tournament, and as I was saying, it augurs well for his team, and showing why he's able to hit away good deliveries as well to the boundary, because he's a first-class player. So now that he is in some form and has some confidence, which is totally opposite from what we saw in the beginning of the tournament, it augurs well for his team.
Well, Dylan goes a swipe over, but he misses that one. A nice break. And boy, that ball would have gone out of this playing field.
Yeah, I would call it an ill-advised shot. It wasn't full of the slug sweep, given that he's turning the ball away from him. You have to get closer to the length in order to get that one away, but he stays back on his back foot this time and punches him to the mid-wicket region for 1. So yes, if you want to execute the slug sweep against the leg spinner as a right-hander, you'd want the ball to be just a little bit fuller than that one was, because Seal Ron Williams actually turns the ball. He's one of those flat leg spinners who pushes it through all the time. He actually gets the ball to turn, grip and bounce. And on this surface, having quite a few matches on it, it is getting more turn than we saw earlier in the tournament, and more bounce as well.
Can you give us your bowling stats that you have ever achieved best? Your best bowling stats?
I've never bowled in any serious cricket. In fact, if you see me bowling, then you know that we are in some serious problem.
it would take Atenes, is it? O.J. Matthews, sorry. All of the same stature there. O.J. Matthews. I remember Matthews bowled in the last preliminary game, and he bowled very well. And I wonder if it's late sometimes that he comes into the attack. Should ask some questions at least in the power play, at least one over. Oh, forced delivery. Up there's the drop from the reaction.
Yeah, he's in some tone and some bounce, and as this pitch affords you that, as we were saying about Williams in the last over.
He comes down the ground, graze. Cleans up. Flighted delivery. This one. Loud appeal there by wicketkeeper James. And Empire will have none of it with James.
Yes, we could call it a very optimistic appeal there.
Alright. Maloney cuts that one. Past the man at point. Runs out to the tournament boundary. They come back for the second. And Matthews is not really putting any pace on the ball. So it is asking of Maloney and Douglas to really put your added strength to it to really get something out of it.
Yes, and that's a good ploy at this stage. He's also bowling a good line and a good length for the most part. That last delivery was almost perfect for the off spinner. Drop and pitching outside off, turning into off stump. And a good length, so that's a good delivery by young Matthews, who's still stealing it.
Second being extracted, so with that bounce he's able to get ball to the fielder, as to the field that he's set for Maloney. End of over number 6 is 63 for 1.
Yes, and that over only went for 3 runs, so that's an exceptional over at this stage by Matthews. He varied his pace, and I see that last one that he bowled was a bit quicker, got a little bit of extra bounce off the surface. And it's good intelligent bowling by a very young cricketer, and we want to continue to see his development as he goes on in his career from here on.
It will be intriguing to see as we look for a 93 target. Seal run. Turn this delivery.
Yes, Williams, will continue his good performance so far in the tournament, but he is really looking here to get a wicket or two for his team to bring them back into contention.
Maloney look to heave that one. We could find him at the square leg boundary. And Seal Run has been putting a little bit of air to the delivery, and which makes turning more viable, turning of that ball. As you see, this one is pulled down again. And it is important as a leg spinner that that ball is dropped with the right spot, or else it can be dispatched out of here as this one goes to the mid wicket region. Goes for 1.
It's a good second over so far from Williams. 4 deliveries. He's only gone for about 3 runs.
And just to come back again, it's the 7-ball distance into the over number 7. It's like the first game, and this is where the Samuel would have came on and tightened things up, as this one is pulled into the long whitish. Look at Athens down there who do the cleanup, and a bit of jump over to avoid any collision there.
Yes, he just had to hurdle over the field as they were coming into close contact there. I think it's Graves, and one of them had to hurdle the other in order not to have a collision.
You don't want James to be landing back on you. This one Maloney in frustration, swing and a miss.
That's a very good over. And these last 2 overs have brought them back into contention. 25 needed from 18 deliveries. Young Matthews again will bowl. And Seal Run and young OJ Matthews, their overs thus far at this point have brought their team back into contention. The equation is still in favor of the batting team, with 9 wickets in hand, having to go for from my estimation here, they need just another 25 runs. 25 runs of 18 deliveries. So needing 25 from 18 deliveries, it's not an inordinate rate by any means. However, stranger things have happened in cricket. As we see Matthews now, he comes back on. That's OJ Matthews. And he continues his spell. He's bowling to Douglas. This one is hit flat and hard. Super 6. Given just a little bit too much air by Matthews. And that one has been hit with disdain. Flat and hard. Upon a straight drive. More like a swat. As you're swatting maybe a tennis forehand down the line. And that was a very serious shot there by Douglas, who I think will be going very hard after this over. Based on what I said so far, I think he'll be going very hard at this over, Douglas.
Is it a replica of Ricardo innings where he played a 6 to bring things back, call things back in? Wide-ish delivery, confirmed by the umpire. So just some 18 runs required from 17 balls. And India could be taken, but boy oh boy, the man comes on and only could watch go for 6. Another super 6. Darren Graves could have just do nothing else but just pick it up and throw it back to Matthews.
Yeah, that ball was essentially off the outer edge, almost a leading edge, as he was looking to hit it more of a long on. And it flew, as we would say, it sailed over the boundary in the end, and there was no way that he got that anywhere near the middle of the bat. But there we see the mindset is to go very hard at the bowling, and so far it is paying off.
Well, this one's on to the sweeper boundary. Boundary coming for one, attempting the second, but the arm of Brown is so powerful. You dare not trust that one.
So they need 11 from 15 as now. And as we look at this delivery.
Again out to Brown. Simon cleans it up. Just hobble it through.
Yes, I think that the mindset of Douglas will cause him to go very hard at these 2 deliveries. The captain is having a chat with him here. Probably telling him, well, if he has to go, use the conventional methods. Don't do anything injudicious. As he's one to do from time to time.
If you go hard, and that's it, over the top. And all you can do here is just to celebrate 6 as Atenes retrieved that one from over the rope. And boy, oh boy, 6 more to the total. It's 89 for 1. That brings up the 264-6 for the tournament.
Yes, that was a very good shot. And as I said, if you're going to go use the conventional methods, which would be off spin and long on, mid wicket, those are the areas strict. And the equation now just 4 needed from 13 deliveries.
Go faster delivery outside the off stump. And one that is missed. The signal of water or helmet. As Brown who will come into the attack. And Dean Brown will look to take up the attack for the last, well, what should be the last over.
That's what is looking to be the last over.
What should be the last over. As we have 12 legitimate deliveries remaining. Just 4 runs to get. If we do see a maiden over, then we go into the last 6.
Well, not even the maiden ones. It doesn't go for 4 runs. Have to go in the last over. But we're looking here. We have live action for you from the Arnisville Sports Complex. A lovely day. And we are very grateful for this weather that we have been having. And we have nice sunshine here at the beautiful Arnisville Sports Complex. featured in so many articles as one of the best vistas at a cricket ground worldwide that you can have. And we'll see here, as mentioned before, that Dean Brown will be bowling. He'll be bowling to Captain Maloney, who is on 35 of 23. Douglas is on 28 of 14. Again, they require 4 of 12, which is they need 2 runs and over. That's the required rate. But the best thing is to try to finish it off this over. Brown would have other ideas as he bowls a very good Yorker, just wide off some there, Casnell.
That ball, diamond delivery.
Yes, a diamond delivery. And we're looking at the Hikers here and their performance thus far. Not to preempt that they're going to win this game, although it seems highly probable. Not impossible for them to lose from this position. As we see that one was off the inside edge, almost bowling there Casnell as it was stopped by the fielder there at shot. Finally, it looks like Jade Matthews.
Well, have you ever played cricket and see who plays the finishing, the last shot?
Well, there's the other one that we used to say, let's see who could close the night.
Okay.
We play this slower cricket, we're a little bit older.
Well, down the ground.
Two
Just 2 required from 9 balls. Not fancying that the Explorers can create some magic here, but we cannot call it cricket. Our statistician in the back would never want to see Soufriere Hikers questioning that.
Yeah, we're not going to call names. But yes, here's Dean Brown. He's bowling to Maloney.
Whipped off over fine leg. It goes out to the boundary. That's the end of it. And the Soufriere Hikers, they have won by 9 wickets to the Darkview Explorers. And boy, oh boy, the Botanical Garden Rangers, they will play the Soufriere Hikers in the Eliminator 2 game. That is tomorrow's game. And boy, we are up and set for good cricket tomorrow as well.
Yes, I was about to say that I don't want to preempt their win, but they have won, so congratulations to the Hikers. But based on their form in their last few games, they're a team that you cannot take lightly from here on. Even though they finished 4th in the preliminary round, it seems as if their key players now are picking some form, and they will be a very dangerous team to come up against from here on in the tournament. Salvan Brown, the only one dismissed, caught Athenaeus bowl Shaquille Brown, that is, for 22 of 11. Maloney, captain, he took his bat through the innings, not out on 35 of 24 deliveries, hitting the winning runs. And Dylan Douglas playing a very exuberant innings as usual, 28 of 29 or 15 deliveries, and I'm seeing Nick Skokie had been corrected there. Maloney made 40 not out of 26 deliveries. Bowling for the Darkview Explorers, we only had 1 wicket taken, which was by Shaquille Brown, 1 for 20. Young OJ Matthews, I think, bowled well, even though his analysts will not say so because of when he bowled in the innings. But it is something for the Darkview Explorers to note from here on, if they retain some of these players in future, that this is a young man who has the potential to bowl some good overs for us when called upon. Well,
it is really important that we tell you that it is more fun, more flavor here at the Adamsville playing field. And boy, if you had good days cricket, you can tune in again as we give the match summary. As Darkview Explorers, they batted their 10 overs, they 92 for 5. The Soufriere Hikers, they were able to reach 95 for 1, 9-wicket win over the Darkview Explorers in Eliminator 1 in the Vincy Premier League cricket competition. And boy, that brings us and that concludes another exhilarating Dream 11 VPL T10 cricket competition. It has been an absolute pleasure from the country and our friends at ITFX and all our partners. Thanks for sharing these last few weeks with us. Until next time, it's goodbye from Adamsville playing field, the gem of the Antilles, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Top few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Stalpon breakers, Botanic and Rangers. It's from the bleachers we will see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL, time to see my life. VPL, this is the joy of my life. It's the Vincy Premier League. Top few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Stalpon breakers, Botanic and Rangers. It's from the bleachers we will see. VPL is more flavor, more